I want to talk a little bit more in depth on relative and absolute linking. When we have a link like this, we can use a relative link that looks at what file it currently is in, as if, let's say this was letter A, and if we're in letter A, meaning we were right here, and we wanted to link to another file like about, we would just type in about.html, and that would look in the same directory because it's relative to its location for the file name about, correct? And if we're using a folder, we would just put in a folder slash and then the file we want to link to. Now, if we're using absolute links, we use the protocol, and we use the domain name, and then we use the file name that we want to link to. So that's great, and absolute links give us the opportunity to really link to anywhere on our folder structure without having to worry where we're currently at. Meaning, if I was in index letter I here, how would I go about linking to F or A, and doing different things? Well, I would just put in the folder structure and match it accordingly. But this isn't always the best. The reason is sometimes things move around. You might change a domain name. It's more characters long, a longer file. Sometimes it gets a little bit more complex linking them around. And it just makes more sense to stick with relative, and best practice would say stick with relative. So I want to show a little bit more in depth on how we go about linking back and forth around relative files. Now, if I am going, let's pretend I am in letter A and I want to get to F, okay, so A to F, I would type out blue/index.html, and that would take us into this folder and into that file. Now, because index.html is the default file name that the system looks for, I don't have to actually put that in. Just like if I was to go to colors.com, I don't have to say colors.com/index.html. It just knows to look there. And so if I say colors.com/blues, then it would pull up if that was an absolute link. But if I link to just blues/, it basically will put in index.html right there. Now, if the file was not named index.html and was named something like about.html, then I would have to specify about.html because it doesn't know what the default file is. So just remember, inside of every folder on your website, if you are breaking it down in a structure like that, you probably should have an index.html just as a landing page for that folder that you want it to go to. Now, again, so you type out the folder /, let's say we want to go into dark or something like, I guess it doesn't really matter. I think you guys get the idea. You just would keep giving more folders, right? So I'd say folder / folder / and just continue on if I had folders within folders within folders. And I think everybody gets the idea there. Now, where I want to go with this now is, let's say, rather than going from A to F or A to C or I or anything like that, let's go let's pretend we're in letter I right now. So let's pretend, instead of saying example up here, it said mixed, and that was the folder I was in. And beneath this folder was blues, and beneath that was the root of colors.com or whatever domain name I was using. So to go back a directory, to go from I to F, the way we do that is we say .. and this is new, okay? So do a .. will take me back out of this directory and put me in the blues, and then specify index.html. If I want to go back from, let's say, I to A, then I would want to do 2 .. And so I'm doing, I'm going from mix .. to blues, and then another .. back to root, and then I'm specifying index.html. Now, remember, index.html is the default file name. So if I do a .. that also denotes the same exact thing. That's going from I to A because that index.html is the default file name it's looking for. So with or without it, it's going to go there. But this is maybe a little bit easier to understand rather than ... Now let's go up a directory and try to go from I to, let's go as far as we can, I to D. Okay, so we're going from index, so we got to go ... into blues, ... into root, and then we're going to put in here reds /dark / index.html. And you can see here now we're going from I, okay, right here inside the mix directory, ... back to blues, ... back to root, into reds, into dark, and into index.html. And again, like I said before, if you want to get tricky, that also works as a valid URL and will take you to where you're looking to go. So this is really important, and there's times where you will use this, and I wanted to make sure everybody understands the way to go back or up into different directories and down or into relative directories, and keep all of your links in a relative manner rather than having to rely on an absolute.